Hello and welcome to episode 77 of the Disney Park Princess podcast. I'm your co-host Sarah.
I'm Heather.
I'm Sharla.
It is National Wear Your Ears Day, so we are all wearing our Mickey ears today, which meant that we had to switch headsets. So if the sound quality this week is not that great, well, it was all for a better cause.
It's much more important to wear ears.
Much more important to wear ears. Yes, so we're recording this on Tuesday, which was National Wear Your Ears Day. You're hearing this on Wednesday, but I say you should still wear your ears while you're listening, quite frankly. And if you're not watching us on YouTube, you're just listening to this, you're wondering which ears we're wearing. Sharla and I are wearing our matching hot pink. I don't even remember what this color was called. Do you?
I don't think it had a.
It wasn't
one of
hot
the color.
pink, but that's what I would
It
describe it
one of
as.
the colors. I don't remember what it was
No,
called.
I think it just they made them. It wasn't
Yeah, they
like
made something up. Yeah. And then Heather is wearing her purple potion ears.
Don't worry, I have more. I'll be changing throughout the podcast.
You've got okay. This is like she's got looks.
Listen, I can't go to the parks. I can't wear them anywhere. So
I know. I know. I've got a couple nearby. Maybe I'll change. I've got my Charlotte ears too right here, so it's possible I'll swap those out. And Charlotte only owns one pair, so
there you go. And that's because we forced her to get
and
them.
that's because we made her buy. I know.
It's not that I don't like ears. I love them, but I just can't wear them all day. They hurt my head, and I don't. Then what am I going to do with them? I can't carry them anywhere if I don't have a bag.
Yeah, she doesn't. Yeah, that's right. Because you don't carry a bag, so that's the issue. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just shove them in my bag. But yeah,
Yeah.
Chalk one up for the bag wearers.
I know.
All right. So this week on the podcast, we are going to be talking about our Disney dream jobs. So last week we talked about our Disney dream days. This week we're talking about our Disney dream jobs. Are you sensing a theme here, people? This is escapist entertainment we are trying to provide right now. But this week we do have a little bit of news, actually. So the first is, and all of it has to do with, COVID-19 to some degree. So we can't, as much as we want to, we can't ignore it entirely. Although, if only. So first news, Sharla, why don't you talk about this? Because I think you were the first person that found out about this yesterday. I think you said it was what inspired this topic today, right?
Yeah. So the Disney executives are all taking a pay cut, and some of them are even foregoing salary altogether during this time. It's supposed to just help with the overall position of the company, help with the lower level workers, and it's supposed to help out the company altogether. And we can have a whole debate over the pay of the executives and how it's, outrageously disproportionate over the, people who work in the parks. But I think this is the right thing to do, and I'm happy that they're doing it. And yeah, once I heard this, I was like, what would my dream job be? Not that I haven't thought about it 100 times, but
like we don't have this conversation all the time.
Yeah,
We just don't usually
yeah.
record it.
Yeah. So anyway, I think it's a really good thing that they're doing this. I think it's the least they can do, really, because they don't need that extra couple grand. They're fine.
Well, I also don't think
Yeah.
I don't think it's the least they can do because they're already paying their hourly cast members. They haven't stopped that. So this is just kind of in addition to it. My take on it is that they're scared. They want to keep their stockholders happy. The parks are closing. That's their number one major revenue. So just giving up their salary is helping keep the company afloat and keep those stockholders happy. That's how I was kind of looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a little bit of everything, right? It's a great PR move.
Mhm.
Sounds like a good headline, right? Frees up cash flow that the company desperately needs right now. Executive compensation for the Walt Disney Company is such a small part of their budget.
Yeah.
Is it going to make a massive difference? No, but it's a gesture of good faith and goodwill, and like Heather said, it makes the stockholders happy, and I think at least it makes the cast members feel like, okay, well, I might be making $12 an hour, but Bob Iger's not getting paid at all this year. He gave up 100% of his salary, so it's something. I think it fosters a greater sense of community. So
Yeah. So when we get to our topic, we're talking about like our dream jobs in the parks and hotels, not
yeah, I wanna
not
be
be in
CEO
charge.
of
No.
Disney.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Is that
that
anybody's
job.
dream job though? If that's your dream job, I want to hear from you because would you want to be in charge of this
Yeah.
right now? And then even on when
Yes.
everything is going swimmingly and perfectly and we're opening Galaxy's Edge, like you're still dealing with Fox takeovers and how do we deal with Hulu and all the
Yeah.
negotiations of the different unions, and that's a lot of moving parts that I
Yeah.
want
When
no
I
part of.
say when I say I want to be in charge of Disney, I mean I'm just going to make the decision. I'm going to say we're going to do this and we're going to do this. There's no board to answer to. There's no stockholders. It's just going to be this is what the parks are going to do and we're going to do this and we're going to do this and it's my decision. It's not your decision. I don't get you. I don't know. I don't want your opinion.
She wants to be dictator of Disney,
There-
is
Yes.
basically what. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Got it. Got it. Understood. Okay. Yeah. All right. I understand. All right. So that's not what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about like actual jobs that currently exist. What would we like to be? Okay.
Yes.
Couple other news items first. One of the last things to cease operations at Disney has been construction, but that has finally come to a halt. And interestingly enough, it was one of the last things to cease operations, but they are some of the first employees to be furloughed or laid off. So that's unfortunate. That's too bad. So I guess the we'll be paying our cast members through April 18th did not apply to this one particular division of the Walt Disney Company.
Well, I assume that they're probably not cast members, right? They're probably either contractors or not even that. They're just outside hired to come in and build the parks. I don't think that they're considered cast members.
So they're, oh, I mean, what I saw online was these are employees of the Buena Vista Construction Company, which is a subsidiary of the Walt Disney Company. So I don't know how the whole cast member, non-cast member thing works, but um, either way, it's unfortunate when anybody right now is not
Sure.
getting a paycheck. So, it's a rough time for everybody,
Yeah.
for sure. But this is also going to have impacts on the parks when they do reopen, right? Because there were a lot of construction projects underway, as anybody who's been to Epcot recently knows. But also there was new resorts underway. There was new, so everything, this
Well,
is going
and
to
not
play.
even not even Disney World. They were building the Avengers campus out here.
Yep.
They're building Frozen out in China. I mean, everything is just
Everything
stopped.
had stopped. Yep,
Yeah.
Disneyland, anything going on at Disneyland Paris. They've canceled the Marvel superhero summer, I guess, at Disneyland Paris. That's already gotten the
Mhm.
ixnay. So we are starting to see impacts, I think, already of, things, how some things are going to be different when the parks do eventually, hopefully soon, reopen.
Well, that's another little piece of news that we weren't necessarily going to say, but we don't know when the parks are reopening. They said closed indefinitely.
Until further notice is
Yeah.
my least favorite phrase this week. If I see until further notice one more time
Yeah.
on an announcement, I might lose my mind. Yeah.
But I
And
think that was kind of smart because it didn't say, okay, we're going to open on April 15th, and then they can't. And then we're going to
yeah,
open on,
yeah,
I think I mean, I understand why they did it, but it's also incredibly frustrating. Like,
yeah.
if
Oh,
you
yeah.
have a vacation planned on May 5th, like, what do you do? Like, or is there a chance it's going to be open by then? Or am I
right,
going to be can't? Like, I want to know. You know what I mean?
right,
And even if they have to walk that date, I want to know for right now my May 5th trip is safe. And then if they have to move it, they have to move it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
it's kind of that. I think that's what's adding to the whole fear in this
yeah,
in the world too, is nobody knows am I going to be able to go and see my daughter's recital in June? And are
Yeah.
we going to, nobody knows what's going on and everybody's life is on hold, which is, and
yeah,
that's terrifying to people.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's another little hint that might help people know. Disney World and Disneyland are not currently accepting reservations prior to June 1st. You literally cannot go into the system and make a hotel reservation for April or May at all. Does that mean that they're not going to reopen until June 1st? Not necessarily. We don't know that. It just means that
Right.
somebody somewhere is planning. This could potentially go this long.
Yeah. And
So
you also cannot make a Fastpass or dining reservation until June 1st.
So some people this
Supposedly.
morning, it's 60 days today from
Yeah.
May 30th, I think. And so some people have been able to make fast passes,
Uh-huh.
limited fast passes. Certainly not the full complement that you would normally see 60 days out. So the fast pass system is open for May 30th and beyond. Well, not and beyond because it's 60 days in advance. Right now it's open for May 30th, I guess. But it's definitely limited. So I guess they're sort of hedging their bets a little bit with everything is sort of how this goes, right? And so it's pretty much, that's what we're all doing, people. We're
Right.
all just hedging our bets.
Ah,
All
yeah.
right, so that does it for news. Next up, we are going to be talking about our Disney dream jobs. All right, so now that I've paused long enough for our theme music, which hopefully you heard, which, by the way, Sharla, I loved the shout out that we got in our happy hour on
Yes.
Friday. So, oh, there goes, we have an ear change. We have
Ear
an
change, ear change.
If you're watching on YouTube, Heather just changed her ears.
Exciting times.
But yes, so Sharla got a lovely shout out from some of our listeners saying that they really enjoyed our extended theme music that appears in the podcast now. And she's the one that does that, people. She is our podcast engineer and producer. So
That's a lofty title. I like it. I like it.
One step closer to dictator.
All right. So who first with their Disney dream job?
I would like to go last, please.
All right. Sharla, how about you?
Okay, I will go first. It was my idea. So I have more than one dream job, but my first dream job is I want to be, of course, in charge, but I want to be in charge of the holiday decorations at Walt Disney World. People may have heard me say this before. I've said this a lot.
Did we do a Patreon extra on this topic?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Because I know we've had this conversation before, and I can't remember if it's just conversation we had or if it's something that we've actually talked about on a Patreon
We
extra
may have
before.
talked about it on the podcast somehow, because I say this all the time.
Yeah.
This is my dream
Well,
job.
it was a listener Q&A. I think a lister Q&A sent in. So yeah, all right. This is the expanded answer.
Yeah, this is but I have more. I know I haven't talked about some of these. So I want to do all the holiday decorations. I love them. I think they're fantastic. And yeah, they're very similar year to year, if not the same in certain places. But the logistics behind all this is absolutely unbelievable. And I think it would be a really neat job. And I think it would be really neat to come up with different ideas and different ways to implement different decorations in parks and in the parks and the resorts. So, and then now we get to be in the parks all the time or the hotels all the time. That's
like, do you don't want to be the one actually doing the decorating?
Oh, I don't mind.
Would you create the decorations? Like, do you want to be working year round, like making the garlands and painting the ornaments?
A little bit of both, I think. So yeah, painting the ornaments is fine too, but yeah, deciding where they go. Like I come up with an idea for an ornament and I say, this is going to go on this tree or this wreath is going to go here or whatever. So yeah, a little bit of both. I don't mind being hands-on. I like to make stuff, but then I want to
DIY.
And I want to decide where it goes. That's my thing.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, so I did the same thing. I sort of thought of like a couple different categories of jobs that you did. So my first one, though, is if I were going to be a character, I would want to be fairy godmother. It's the only costume that would fit me. But B, I think she's it's such an iconic character. And I think she's so much fun. And I just think it's a great, I just think it would be so much fun. And I would get a magic wand. Come on. What's the point of being a Disney character if you don't get a magic wand?
But you can't hit people with it.
Oh, I mean, incidental contact, I mean, I can't hit people on purpose. But what happens in the utilidor stays in the utilidor. So, So that's my first one. All right, Heather.
I mean, I don't have multiple, but I will
you only have one? Okay, do you want to just wait until the very end?
Yes, but I will say that if I was going to be a character, I would want to be Alice in Wonderland. I've always wanted to do that, but I would call it a dream job. But
goes without saying. Okay. All right, Sharla, what's your next one?
Okay. My next one is I would like okay.
Sorry, hold on.
We're getting a
keep going.
We're getting an ear change again.
I have a lot to get through here.
Okay. Okay, so my next one is I would want to be a tour guide on the Wild Africa trek.
Oh, that's a good one.
So you get to not only know about all the animals, You get to drive the big Jeep, which is, well, I guess they don't drive it. Somebody else drives it. I'm going to drive it if I'm in charge. Um,
And you are
Oh,
in
she's
charge.
in
Yeah.
We've
charge of the
determined
Wild
that. You
Africa
are in
trek now
charge.
too.
Yeah.
oh, sure, I will be in charge of the Wild Africa Track, even better. But no, you get to have all the animal knowledge because all of those tour guides have extensive knowledge of animals and they work with them and all that. And I think that's fantastic. You get to go on this amazing tour every day and just be in the middle of all these animals. I think it's absolutely incredible. I think it
Yeah.
would be an amazing job.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty funny because that's my next one is I would want to work. I would want to work in well, not that specifically, but I would want to work in animal care at Disney's Animal
Yeah.
Kingdom. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't really matter to me what animal not I'd prefer it not be the snakes or like insects or something like that. Like,
You don't
preferably
want to
some
feed
type
the
of mammal.
cockroaches.
Probably some type of mammal. But yeah, I think that would be it's hard work, but I've actually done it before. I used to volunteer at the Connecticut Children's Museum and the Live Animal Center when I was in high school, and I fed the mountain lions and the hedgehogs and the owl and by the way, feeding the mountain lions and the owl not as much fun as it sounds. So I've actually done the job before, and I really, really, really enjoyed it. So that
Here is what I think Animal Kingdom is missing. Penguins, because then I would want to play with the penguins all day. That would be the funnest job ever.
Can we talk about one of my favorite videos for just this complete non sequitur? But can we talk about one of my favorite videos during the quarantine?
I know what you're gonna say because
You know what I'm gonna? Is it well? There's a few of them. So there's the aquarium that let the penguins sort of roam around, which is fantastic.
That's my favorite.
But yesterday, the Atlanta Humane Society partnered up with the Atlanta Aquarium and let puppies roam the aquarium, and that was even better.
Oh, see now, okay, I'm gonna come off a little spoiled. Not spoiled. I actually needed the service, but Copley got to come with me everywhere, and so every time we would go to the seas, he would just stand there and stare at the aquarium. Like, so I got to see that all the time.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in this case, the aquarium was empty. So of course they just had like the run of the place, and there's like they like fall asleep in front of the giant tank, all curled up, and oh my gosh, it was.
I loved the video of the penguins when they got to.
Penguins
They
was
were set loose. Like, okay, we're on a field trip now. It's so
The penguins
Well,
was fantastic.
They
Yeah.
could do that all the time. They could just let the penguins out at night. I don't see why they don't do that. They should.
I mean, maybe they do, but they videotaped it for us this time, and for that, I'm eternally grateful.
Yeah.
Like, for all I know, it's like an episode of Finding Dory all the time. But, Heather, you're not allowed to laugh at because you haven't seen it yet. So
I'm never gonna see it. So there you go.
All right.
Speaking of penguins, this is completely off topic, but we watched March of the Penguins 2 the other day. It was so good. I'd never seen the first one, and
I've seen the first one. I
I've
haven't
seen the
second.
first. I didn't even know there
Well,
was.
Yeah.
there is a second. It's on Hulu, but Nora was
Okay.
doing it for school, and her teacher said try to watch it. It was so good. So I want to watch the first one now. So
It's really good.
It
Yeah.
is really good.
the second one was great. So everybody watch it. It's on Hulu.
Sorry if any of you are watching YouTube and wonder why my face just changed. An event that I was very much looking forward to at the end of May just got rescheduled.
Oh, welcome to my world. All of my fun stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, Sharla, did you have any more?
Of course.
Okay. Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going.
So my big one now, I know that I am not the exact right type for this. I don't
But
care.
it's a dream.
In my dream, I can lose 100 pounds and not that much.
You
Anyway.
you would disappear if you
Yeah.
lost 100
Okay.
pounds. So
I think I think that the top weight is like 100 pounds for this job. So I want to fly from the castle.
I was about to say I know what job you're about to.
I want to fly from the castle. I don't like Tinkerbell. We've talked about that before. So I would bear with it and be Tinkerbell for this.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
serious.
that's how much I
She
want to do it.
Really hates Tinkerbell.
Yeah, I
so
really do. But
that's
but
big. That's
I
big.
could be. I mean, I could be somebody else. Who else flies? I don't know. But
Dumbo out here.
yeah, Dumbo flies.
Mary Poppins.
I could be Mary Poppins, just
There you
super
go.
fast version of Mary Poppins.
There you go.
But that's what the job I want. I want to fly from the castle. I'm not afraid to stop at the end. I've seen backstage. I've seen where she stopped at the end. Kind of crazy, but I love it. I think it's a fantastic job. I think it would be amazing to do that every night. You get to fly overhead and wave at people wearing bright lights, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's my dream. Like I said I wanted to be the fairy godmother, but really specifically, I want to be the fairy godmother on a float in the parade.
Then you don't really have to
really
talk to anybody.
I could just from up on high do my bibbity bobbity boo and boop and just point at people, and because like even as an adult, I'm 45 years old. I still get excited when like one of the characters like points right at me or like wishes or said like if I'm wearing a button that wishes me a happy birthday, like that is still the most exciting part of my day. And when you're a kid, like that is everything. So the thought of being like on a float and watching people's reactions to you as you go past, I mean, come on. How good is that?
It's like as close as you could get to being famous, right? Like, oh, look, everybody loves me.
Right. Yeah, that's as close as I get to being royalty. So
So I know I don't have the, and I may even be too tall to be Tinkerbell, even though I'm 5'2". I may even be too tall.
But for Tinkerbell that flies, like I think you have to be an actual bigger person.
I think you have to be a different type of person.
Yes. I don't want to say it because there's people with their children.
Yeah. Tinkerbell is magical and wonderful, and anybody can be Tinkerbell if they really, really want to. But for this particular role,
I'm in charge. If I'm in charge, I can do it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So my next one would be similar to Sharla's in wanting to do the Christmas decorations, but I would just want to work in like special events planning, like helping people create. And I wouldn't be good at this job, by the way. Like just because I want the job doesn't mean I'm implying I would be good at it, because I am not a particularly crafty or creative person. But getting to help plan those crazy special events that like corporations do or very wealthy people do, where they create like a mad tea party or they do like that, like the special events department at Walt Disney World or Disneyland or anywhere is amazing.
Yeah.
I would love to be doing that. I'd be terrible at it, but oh my gosh, it would be so much fun.
It would be a lot of fun though. Like imagine just like sitting with a corporation or even a bride and being like, "What's your budget? Okay, tell me what you want."
Yeah.
Like
I love helping people spend money. So
well, I think that special events and weddings in some ways go together, but special events would almost be more fun because when you're well, not because of that, but because like with weddings, you only have a certain amount of things really that kind of goes into the elegant wedding. But with special events, you can do anything, and
sky's the limit.
Incredible.
Yeah. We got to do, I think all three of us were there. We got to do a behind the scenes at special events one time, and they showed us like some of the things that they've done, and that was mind blowing. That there are people out there with that kind of money to spend, and how do I make friends with them? And B, just the sheer creativity, behind what they do there. It was just really miraculous and magical. And if you don't believe that magic is real, visit the special events department sometime, and it's real. They are magic makers.
I've had clients who say they want this private thing and this private thing. And I'm like, okay, but let me tell you, you don't have that kind of money.
Right.
And here you go. And I have never actually had one come follow through because it's an individual, not a corporation. But you can do at Disney, you can do anything you want.
Just about
you
anything.
just have to pay for it. I mean, if you want anything, they will make it happen, but they will charge you for it. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yay, Sara has new ear.
All right, I'm Heather's got me. Okay, how do I do this? All right, I can't do it.
Okay, she's back.
I'm back. All right. There, you can't really see them very well on camera because they're these are the ones.
No, I can. They're cute.
You can. Okay, Sharla. These are the ones that Sharla made for me. So very special, one of a kind, unique ears. All right. Do you have more, Sharla? Do you want to keep going, or should we let Heather do hers?
I think we should let Heather go.
Okay.
Oh, okay, hold on. Then
I could say plenty more, but
now she's got to do her ears too.
This is my final ear.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if these ones are my favorite, but I really, really like them.
And
nobody ever has like Mickey bar ones.
Yeah. Cute.
I also don't even like Mickey bars, but I love the ears. My turn?
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't have a dream job at Disney. I am a firm believer of I don't want to work where I play. Like I don't.
You made us wait that long.
No. Hold. because I'm about to blow all of your minds.
Okay.
That being said, I actually worked with Disney World for a year and a half. And so I thought I would tell you a little bit about that job because I think a lot of what you guys were talking about, I got to do, and it was really, really cool. So, oh gosh, 5 or 6 years ago now, about 6 years ago, I started. I was the training director for the mechanical apprenticeship at Walt Disney World. So I was not a Disney employee or cast member, but I was a contractor. And with my contractor badge, because I was a training director, I got to go anywhere, like any gate, backstage, name it, my badge opened that door. Because the people that I oversaw, and maybe a lot of people don't know this, but for the mechanical program, so you're thinking anybody that works on the buses, the boats, the monorails, the rides, anything that moves. I was in charge of the training program. They have a 4-year apprenticeship program. You can't just go to Disney World and say, I'm a mechanic, hire me. They actually train their own people, and it's with a partnership with the schooling system in Orlando. And so this is not a high school program. It's kind of a continuing education as opposed to college. They would do this. So I was in charge of that program. And the specifics are really super boring. I didn't work at Disney World. I had an office off site, but I got to work with the Imagineers all the time, and I got to work out of the Imagineering offices. So some of the cool stuff that I got to do was walk Cali River Rapids in waders while it was closed, while they were
Oh, cool.
redoing it. I got to see when they were redoing or refurbing It's Tough to Be a Bug, and they were working on Hopper with his skin off. I got to go in there and like
Whoa.
stand up underneath him and see how they put the animatronics together. I got to climb to the top of the Tree of Life while the park was open, mind you. So if you were there that day, you could have seen me
That's
waving to
cool.
everybody. um, so I got to do a lot of really cool stuff. When I would work on property, I would work out of the Imagineering trailer, which is located across the street from Rafiki's Planet Watch. So I got to see all of like the Imagineers coming and going. One day, all of a sudden, they got a call from the animal care team, and they're like, "We have a lion in for surgery," and they didn't even have him on stage, but or no, it was it was a female lioness. And so we got to run across the street and watch them operate on a lion on my work day. Like it was
Very
really
cool.
cool. What else? Oh, Sarah, you're going to appreciate this. And I've been wanting to tell everybody this forever when everyone says free the Yeti. I worked in the CODA conference room where they had on the board years ago mathematical equations, like an entire wall of equations trying to figure out how to fix the Yeti. So it is not that they are not trying, everybody. They have been trying for years. They physically just don't know how to do it yet without ripping down the entire ride. But they are working on it, I promise. So I got to do,
Hashtag free the Yeti.
when they, remember, does anyone remember when the monorail went down maybe 5 years ago? Like lightning hit it?
Mhm.
Those were all my guys that we had to like, come on, get out of school, get out of here, like it's not your day off anymore. We have to go and we have to fix the monorail. And like that was not a good day at work for me because everybody was panicked on what are we going to do? We have to get this restarted and we have to get guests off of it. Um, oh gosh, I got to do so many cool things. I was watching them one day. I got to hang out in the barn for Expedition Everest. They were working on some of the trains, just, like nothing wrong with them, but just kind of maintaining them. Um, I got to go to the bus depot, which sounds really boring, but it's actually really cool seeing the massive amount of buses that they have there working on. So it was a fun job, and it's not something everybody thinks about. We go to Disney World and we think rides and all of this, but nobody really thinks about what it takes to keep all of that running. So
That's very cool.
That's
not
very
really a dream
cool.
job. It was fun, and it kind of touched on everything that you guys want to do.
I would totally do that job. That sounds amazing. Yeah.
It was great because I was the boss too, and then there were some days where I was just like, you know what, I don't want to work, so I would just go to Epcot and do the Wine Festival, and I was allowed to because it was research.
That's great.
Very fun. All right, and so that's it. You literally you don't have one job at Walt Disney World that you would want to do, or Disneyland, or Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney. You don't have any dream
No, we
job.
said no corporate. There's literally nothing that I would ever want to do in
Right.
the parks. And let me tell you why. Like I love to play in the parks. I don't want to work there. I don't want to work nights. I don't want to work weekends. I don't want to work holidays. That none of that appeals to me. Like, that's where I go to have fun.
Well,
Now,
yeah,
that
but
doesn't
I
mean
mean,
I
this
don't
is
want to. No, I literally, there's not a job you could say, oh, I want to do that. Like, it doesn't appeal to me.
well, I mean,
But
this is
I will say,
fantasy. I don't want to actually work there, or I would work there.
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
actually want to do it because
no,
No.
there's nothing that sounds exciting to me. But on the flip side, there's a lot of jobs at the Walt Disney Company I want to do, but we said no corporate.
all
That was
right.
Sharla's rule for the record. It's not
When
my
she said
rule.
this, I'm like, oh, great, let me tell you. And she's like, no corporate, only parks. I'm like, I got nothing.
Well, maybe that's a different podcast for another
That's
week.
right. Different podcast. No.
Sorry, guys. I know I'm boring. I don't know. I will tell you, my grandfather's dream was always to retire and go drive the friendship boats. But he's like the least friendly person on the planet. And you're always like, why do you want to do that? You hate people. He never did, mind you, but that was always his dream, was to go drive the friendship boats.
That would be kind of it's funny. As I'm going around Walt Disney World, I always think like, is that a job I would want? Is that a job I would want? And Charlotte and I took the friendship boats on our last trip, and there was this super cute little girl that was driving the boats and whatever, and I thought, oh, that looks like fun. And then I thought, but does it look like fun for 8+ hours a day?
Yeah.
I feel like
Okay.
it's got to be so relaxing and so peaceful. Like, you're just out on the water and that's beautiful. But then it's also like, okay, now I've been doing this for 8 hours.
Right, but by like hour 3, is it still relaxing and peaceful? Like, I
But
don't know.
that's why you do that's why you do the fireworks cruises, or you drive
There
the
you go.
Grand One. You're
Yeah.
the captain of the Grand One, and you
Yeah.
get to go out.
But I wonder, like, Disney's really good at rotating their cast, at least in the parks, like the ride operator. So if
Yeah.
you work in Fantasyland, you'll maybe move from Small World to Peter Pan or whatever. Or if you're merchandise, you rotate shops within that land. So I wonder if they do that with the boat drivers. Can
Maybe.
you? Like, where else would you go? Probably not.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, but you could go from the boats, that go between the Magic Kingdom and the hotels, and to go to Epcot and the hotels, and the marinas. I'm
Yeah.
sure if you're certified to drive one type of boat, there's probably a whole class of boats that includes, I would imagine. Oh, maybe not. Maybe it's very specific. I have no idea. I have no knowledge about boats really, other than I like water and I like being on the water, and that's about as far as I've gone.
Yeah.
All right. So, coming up next on the Patreon Extra, if you are a Patreon supporter, we are going to be talking about all the things that we are quarantine obsessed with. So, what are we watching and reading and looking at online? We already told you a little bit about our animal videos that we love so much, but we've got lots more that we're currently obsessed with. So if you want to hear that, you can go to patreon.com/Disney Park Princess. Sign up to support us. You get exclusive content. We do the bonus podcast content, which is also videotaped, so you can listen or you can watch. We have a Disney Park Princess Patreon Facebook group that you can be a part of, and then if you are subscribing at certain levels, you get VIP emails with exclusive tips and tricks from us about all kinds of different topics, the parks, the cruise line, and these are things that we share only with our Patreon subscribers, so it's all exclusive content. So don't forget to join our general Disney Park Princess Facebook group. We're having lots of fun in there. We're doing Facebook Lives a few times a week. We did a happy hour last week. We're going to try to do another one this week. And people are sharing all kinds of like memes and articles, and there's all kinds of fun stuff going on in there right now. So definitely make sure to join us there as well. And of course, you can always visit us online at DisneyParkPrincess.com. Check out our blogs. We have one new blog every week. And at this point, we're up to, I don't know, 200 posts. I think we're closing in on 200 posts at this point. So there's a lot of stuff on there. And that's it. We will be back next week, and we are going to be talking about our favorite restaurants, right? We had one of our listeners, Kyle, wrote in and asked us a question about our favorite restaurants. So we're talking about next week.
Yep.
We are planning an upcoming listener Q&A episode. So if you have any questions for us about anything, really, you can email us at info@disneyparkprincess.com and ask your question, and we will be happy to answer it on an upcoming podcast. And that's it. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks so much, guys, for sharing thank you, Sharla, for sharing your Disney Disney dream job.
I
And
think that my job was pretty freaking amazing,
and
guys.
thank you, Heather, for sharing your behind the scenes expertise with us. Wasn't the topic of the podcast, but whatever, it's fine.
It was
We will
way
talk.
cooler than a dream job at Disney parks.
No, because you actually had to work. Ours
Hey,
just only
I got
existed for
paid to
Heather.
go to Food and Wine Festival. So until anybody else gets paid to go to Food and Wine Festival, I don't know.
All right. We will talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.